All right. Well, do we have time to talk about
Yeah, let's talk about
this? So
everyone's getting bloody cancelled.
every single comedian is getting.
You've got a black cap. Take it off. It's disgusting.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I'm gonna leave it on.
Lewis is doing blackhead.
Blackhead, guys. I have blackheads.
Huh?
Skincare.
Yeah,
Got to get rid of that,
I'm offended.
guys.
Put on a face mask,
Sorry.
but not a black face mask.
Yeah, I got you good the other day. With the
You
live
did
stream.
on the live stream.
Yeah.
Just how fucked is it in the world right now
Yeah.
where I was worried about wearing a black face mask, like for my skin,
Yeah.
right, on a live stream.
I know, because that was the joke.
Because that week we did it, Jimmy Fallon had been cancelled for doing it on TV.
20
Not the
years
same
ago.
thing. All right, I wasn't doing it.
Completely different. Because
You know.
I think blackface is like blackface to me, like actual racist blackface to me is like painting your face black and going, look at me, I'm a black person, and then doing real racist stereotype things. That to me is what it is. Putting on a fucking black skincare mask is not.
No.
But a bunch of comedians and TV shows have been pulled from streaming services recently for having blackface in them. Most notably, Chris Lilly. Was it all of his TV series were pulled?
Jonah from Tonga, Angry Boys.
And We Can Be Heroes.
Jermaine was not pulled.
We Can Be Heroes and Jonah.
It was just,
So
it was
anything that
just the
had-
ones with
had
blackface in
blackface
it.
But they didn't remove his latest one where he does blackface for the
Because they
woman.
funded it. Netflix funded the latest one.
That's right. Yeah, she's just tanned.
Okay.
Which character? The one that owns the pets?
South African woman.
The South
Oh
African.
yeah, she's white. She's just wearing like heaps
He
of
just
fake
put
tan.
fake tan on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of South Africans are white, like
That's
the
like
annoying
pulling
ones
Kath
you hear
and
about.
Kim, you know?
Yeah.
Just-
And also, so Chris Lilly's shows got pulled. Little Britain was pulled
one
from
I heard-
BBC.
Don't quote me on it, but I heard Tropic Thunder got pulled.
Really?
Yeah, it is. That's insane
that
because
one's fucked.
movie is a movie about shooting a movie. And the joke being Robert Downey Jr. plays like this character that sees nothing wrong
Yeah.
with wearing blackface.
That
And
movie is criticism of blackface.
Ben Stiller points it out, like in the movie, like that's kind of fucked up. I think there's a scene,
Yeah.
and but the joke is the guy's a full method actor
Yeah.
who plays this character that they're filming. It's kind of complicated. It's a movie about these guys shooting.
It's
a movie.
one of the best comedy films I've ever seen, ever made, I think. I think it's so funny.
It's very funny. And then in the movie, it's like they're shooting this war movie. They actually get caught in a real war, but some of the guys still think it's a movie.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, the main character, still thinks it's a movie the whole time.
It's funny. Yeah.
but I would say that's not offensive because of the context.
Yeah, the
Maybe I'm
context
wrong,
is
but-
I think that the context is it's criticism of people
I think so.
doing blackface.
I remember people at the
think.
time said like, "Oh, was there controversy at the time? I don't remember."
I think there was.
Because that's pretty modern. Like that's one of the most modern things. That and Chris Lilly, you don't see it very often
no.
anymore.
I think the other one that was really weird that got removed was one episode of Fawlty Towers, where there's a German guy there and everyone's trying to work out whether or not he's a Nazi. I actually haven't seen it.
I've seen most episodes of
I
that
probably
show.
have actually. I haven't seen it recently.
I think I have.
Has anyone here watched
Isn't
it?
it just the Nazi comes into the hotel and
Right by
Basil?
Can't remember, but it's not an endorsement of the like it's not a good character using it, but it's a bad character.
yeah.
Right.
Jazz, you've seen it. Do you remember the details of the episode?
He was a really awful guy.
The Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So I think that today you probably shouldn't be doing blackface.
Oh,
I think
hang on. I got the Mighty Boosh has also been removed from Netflix.
Yeah, that's another one I saw.
Yeah.
I think today you probably shouldn't be doing blackface. I think I would still think if Tropic Thunder was made today,
They
I think
wouldn't
that's
do it?
fine
Right.
because of the context
I
around
think,
it.
Dude, there's no problem. You definitely shouldn't be doing it nowadays for many reasons. A, just because of the climate we all live in, and we know that some people...
I don't think it makes it I don't think it makes it funnier.
No.
Really.
Why can't you just hire an African-American actor? I don't...
Well, it's hard. Like someone like Chris Lilly if he's playing a black guy, like
That's his thing. Is
Like
he plays
in-
a bunch of characters.
I would
yeah.
I would assume, I don't know the guy, but I would assume in his mind he doesn't have racist intent doing that, because in his mind he's like, I'll have a female character, teenage girl, I'll dress up them. I'll have a South African character, dress like them, and I'll have a black character and I'll dress and I'll look like them. So he's wearing prosthetics in all of them, and to portray a black person.
Yeah.
If he got a black person to play that, it wouldn't be a Chris Lilly show, but also
I saw
maybe
so
he should
many,
just avoid
I
it.
saw so many African American people in the comments going like, "This is bullshit. Like, I love this show. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then there's clearly people on the other side as to why it got cancelled, right?
Yeah. I think it all comes down to intent. So like blackface, as it was historically known, was literally just to mock black people. Like, look at me, I'm black and I'm stupid. And that was the joke. Whereas I think the stuff that Chris Lilly's doing isn't like...
I just think it's insane. Fair enough, don't fund new stuff, right? Like, but don't
I
take down the
understand that.
back catalogue.
No.
Like,
because
don't
that's
pretend like
stupid.
it never happened.
Yeah. I think what
Like-
should happen is what... Like Warner Brothers did it really well with racist Looney Tunes stuff. Like during World War II, there was
They
like
just
heaps
faded
of
out.
the heaps
Disney
of
did that shit, man.
yeah. They
There's
had
a really
heaps of-
racist Disney film, and they just pretended they never made
Song
it.
of the South.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I think they should do was what Warner Brothers did. When there was like World War II was happening, there was lots of racist like Japanese characters, which at the time was understandable. Not right, but understandable because you
We
were
were
at fucking
at war, and it was like kind of propaganda as bit as well.
Yeah, it was a little bit of that. And I'm sure it was the other way as well. And they just put, instead of pretending that it never happened and taking it all down, they just put a little thing at the start that said, this was made during this year, and during this time, this was what the beliefs that people had. Today, it's absolutely unacceptable, and we wouldn't make it today.
Yeah.
But to delete it would be to pretend it never happened, which would make it more likely to repeat our past mistakes. We think it would be worse to delete it. And
I think
I think that's
good.
what should be done. Like,
yeah.
maybe if something is crazy controversial but still popular or still has like historic
And
worthiness.
that's why Chris Lilly is so successful, because it is so controversial. That's why people
Yes.
watched it.
Yeah.
Kinda, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never been that into his shows. I personally am like not like I don't get the hype around it. Some High Tide was great.
Summer
and I
High
like
Tide was
Angry
incredible.
Boys,
I
but
didn't like any of the other ones.
yeah,
I think. But I also think that that's probably a reflection of like my age.
maybe.
Like I feel like all of the other
True,
ones.
I watched the one when I was in like year 8.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the other ones, I bet, has a huge audience of people that were our age when we first saw the first one.
Yeah.
I think going back, Briggs, who's an Aboriginal guy in Australia, said something really good about it. He said something along the lines of, deleting this kind of stuff doesn't help anyone. If you really want to make an actual change rather than perform a change, you should fund content made by these groups.
Yeah.
That's what would actually make a change. And then maybe we would see more of them making fun of us making fun of
Yeah,
them.
and then fucking 100 years time it's going to go full circle. They're gonna-
I mean, it might,
Maybe.
it could, that shit could happen. Like you never know with culture. I think that
yeah,
it's
the
silly.
deleting of the back catalogs is fucking stupid, and it doesn't solve anything.
Doesn't do anything. And
No.
also it also doesn't teach creators anything, because all of those decisions are made by like executives and marketers. So John Cleese said something that I fucking loved about
And
it.
he's the guy who plays Basil, the main character in Fawlty Towers.
He wrote the show. He created the show. So he said this. So it was taken down from the BBC.
He's also from Monty Python.
So one of the best comedians ever lived and ever will live, like made a huge impact on comedy. So I think his opinion carries some weight. He said this about the BBC. He goes, the BBC is now run.
He's also like 70 though, so
Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt.
70-year-old white guy.
Well, he doesn't drop the N-bomb in this tweet. So,
Okay, that's
so I
good.
think we can filter out his 70-ness. He said, the BBC is now run by a mixture of marketing people and petty bureaucrats. It used to have a large sprinkling of people who actually made programs, not anymore. So BBC decisions are made by people whose main concern is not losing their jobs. I think that could be applied to just about every massive media corporation. 95% of the people working there are not the people making and writing these shows.
Yeah.
It's all
I
marketing.
think everyone, like, that's the
upper
thing. The people who
management bullshit.
pulled this shit from Netflix or whatever,
Mm.
they don't give a fuck.
No, they don't
They
care.
just worried about, like, publicly making their company look good.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
oh, we're doing
yeah.
something to help. It's like they're not helping. They don't. No one actually
and they,
gives a
they
shit. Maybe
don't
there's one
care
person that does.
because when did Chris Lilly's new show come out?
Like a year ago.
last year.
They don't
They
give a fuck.
you guarantee they knew about all this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they watched the shows, put it on Netflix.
And
Their opinion changed in less than a year.
last year when it came out, they were under criticism for hosting the other shows like Angry Boys, where
And they stood by it.
Yep.
Which I think they should have. I think there's an argument to be made of leaving a warning that says, by today's standard, this wouldn't be acceptable and we wouldn't make it today. But
It wasn't acceptable when it was made.
well, yeah, that's.
I
the
remember
thing. I
when
think
Angry Boys was made, and everyone was like, "This was it S Moose or S Mouse?"
S-Mouse.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't remember. I haven't watched the show in
Yeah.
ages. S Moose would be a better name though
yeah.
for a rapper. I'm just saying.
S-Moose.
S Moose is
That
cool.
would be cool.
It's like Dead. Or it's supposed to be like Dead Mouse,
yeah.
the DJ.
S-Mouse.
so.
I don't know.
Jeez, that's a bit out of touch, isn't it? He's creating a rapper character and parodies a DJ's name,
Yeah,
who's not even that big anymore.
that's weird. But anyway, that character at the time was like very controversial.
pretty racy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you just have to look at people's intent. Like Andrew Schultz said something really good. He said, "Judge me by my intent, not your interpretation of my idea."
Yeah,
Because that's, like if you say something and I'm offended by
Man.
it, that doesn't mean you meant to hurt my
yeah.
feelings.
Ruben and I were talking about this in the car on the way over, and I was saying to him, I was like, "Man, I keep getting comments and emails about the title of my solo podcast. People going, you can't
Yeah.
call your podcast Memoirs of a White Guy anymore."
Yeah.
And I was like, Ruben was like, "What the fuck? It's the most self-aware thing ever."
Yeah. You are literally a white guy talking about what you did. That's basically the dictionary definition of 95% of podcasts.
Yes.
White guys
and the
going,
joke
"So
is,
today I
the
did
joke
this."
is like, why would you want to hear what I have to say? Because
Yeah.
every white guy has a podcast. And the way at the time, that
Yeah.
was very like a relevant thing. Now, yes, it hasn't aged that well, I guess, but it's not racist. Like I had a
Yeah.
comment on my podcast this week going, "Man, I love your shit, but I would hate to see you get cancelled. Might want to change it." I was like, what part about that is offensive?
I would think that if you were to change it, that would be you going,
Memoirs of
So
a White
I-
Guy in Blackface.
initially it was-
very offensive.
yeah, yeah. Which
Very
you
offensive.
stopped doing after like episode 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the old Luke. And I now have a little warning in front of all those
Yeah.
episodes, going, "I'm sorry, I danced around and
Yeah.
in cuffs." You know,
I you might have got a little influx of it because I talked about the podcast name in my recent podcast.
Yeah.
I said share some thoughts and prayers for Luke, who has to promote a podcast called Memoirs of a White
Yeah.
Guy. But then I got a bunch of comments going, I don't know if you can talk about that. Yours is called Spearhead Sundays. The initials is the SS podcast.
oh, true.
So
Yeah,
fair,
dude.
anything can be offensive if you spin it like that.
Yeah, you know what else hasn't fucking aged well?
Hmm?
Guess who bought 400 shirts before the comedy festival that say "the whitest boy that ever lived" on them? And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever sell them.
Not
And
a
I was
wise
really worried
investment.
someone would wear them to a fucking protest and get themselves king hit.
Yeah,
And I was like, dude, like, again, that joke is also in context.
Yeah.
The joke is I'm the whitest boy that ever lived because I like Mountain Dew and Fallout Boy.
Yeah, I mean, I picked a fucking bad day to buy 1,000 KKK hoods as well.
Yeah.
I thought those were going to
Fuck.
sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not today's climate. And that's the type of shit that might get us in trouble, you
Yeah.
know? The intent, you got to judge by people's intent. I feel like Chris Lilly has had...
Again, people might get upset at that, but it's like the intent was we're mocking racism, that it's fucked.
Yeah, it is.
It's fucked that you have to explain that.
It's crazy. I feel like we should look at people's intention, and their work doesn't equal their intention. I mean, I think a really good example is like 95% of rap music is about murdering people. Literally, you can find so many hit songs that are literally, "I killed someone and got away with it, ha ha." That's fine, but comedy that addresses race
Yeah.
in like an edgy way is not.
We're supposed to pretend like racism doesn't exist in our acts,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
We're supposed to ignore it.
yeah.
Which is
so,
like worse. I don't know.
Mm.
Again, but people don't
'cause, like,
understand.
putting a
jokes.
blanket rule on saying that blackface is not okay, does that mean that if I was to criticize people who wear blackface by having a dumb character in blackface and then maybe interacting with a person to create a funny sketch that explains why it's wrong, that's racist? if you criticize the idiot wearing blackface.
No, well, I would say that's not.
Yeah, but Netflix
also-
might pull that.
But also, no one would do it. No one would do that sketch you just described.
Not anymore.
Because, like, why would you even risk that? Why would you even play in that area anymore? Like,
Yeah.
even pointing out, like, even this conversation, like, the boys are looking at us like, shut the fuck up. Like, this conversation is is towing the line of just talking about it, which I think is fucked up.
Yeah, I think so. Which
I mean, we are two white guys giving our take on blackface. So, you know what, boys? I get your judgment.
I mean, hey, we invented it. We can decide when it's going to be stopped.
hey.
I don't know.
You invented it.
Yeah, well, whatever. I think that the problem is you can't have these discussions. That's you it's like talking about things can get you fucking destroyed. You know, and it's like, you know, like some girl went viral on TikTok and then went from 10,000 followers on Twitter to 200,000. In 3 days, she got cancelled and lost like 20,000 followers because of because of some people she followed on Twitter. Nothing she said, people she followed. And she had to come out and apologize for following people on Twitter. And she literally had to say, I don't agree with these people. I follow them so I can understand their argument. And if I ever encounter that argument in real life, I'm better equipped to maybe convince them that I'm right because I understand where they are coming from.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
It's
that's
like
next level.
That's
canceling
literally
people
thought crime,
Yeah.
right? Like, how dare you try to understand someone who is racist? It's like, well, if you
I
don't
reckon
understand,
soon, like 20 years, it's going to be illegal to like think of titties and jack off.
yeah,
Like
could
people
be.
are going to be like, you fucking misogynist. You pictured a tit?
Yeah,
Fuck you.
I don't know. It's wild. Like, it's like a really famous black guy used to go to KKK rallies and talk to these people and treat them as humans and befriend them. And he had pulled like hundreds of people out of the KKK by understanding why they were that way.
Going.
He literally is. He's facing that now. He was doing this shit like decades ago, and now people are going, why the fuck would you give him the time of day? It's like, because of the results.
Isn't there a movie about that? Like
Black Klansman. No, that's different.
Oh,
Different
okay.
premise.
That's like not helping someone
It doesn't
that's
help,
mentally
like-
ill, or like that's like turning your back on someone. Like, I'm not
Mm.
saying, you know, that some of those people in those organizations clearly are unstable.
A lot of them are
Maybe?
just
I don't know.
unstable, and a lot of them just want a purpose. And I mean, the most alluring thing about it is finding a purpose and an enemy, which is what we always need. Is like, I believe this, and those people don't believe that, so they must be destroyed. I mean, that's like every religion, every war. I mean, that's this shit happening now. It's like, we must destroy all racists, and it's like the only way to properly do that is to understand these people, talk to them, treat them as human because they are.
That's like me. I love Panic at the Disco, but I hate Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Maybe you
fuck
need to
them,
talk
you
to
know?
some Limp Bizkit fans.
Nah, fuck them.
Don't
fuck
them
them all.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Shitty band from the 90s. Wouldn't fucking listen
It's
to them.
yeah. It's like if someone truly has racist beliefs and you'd fucking destroy their lives. That sure, okay, you've destroyed their life, but they didn't change. They're gonna have kids. They're gonna raise their kids like that. The problem's gonna get worse. You need to talk to these people, is what I think. Some people obviously can't be talked to. Like, some people are just vehement in their beliefs, and yeah, we can throw those people in the bin. But if people are like uneducated, or they might think one thing, but they're not super hard line, canceling them and destroying their lives, I don't think helps the world. It just fucking feels good for you to squash someone, to have the power to do that.